Well, hello, kiddies. It's your old pal, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt. And you're listening to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Review podcast. Lights, camera, action!
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. Don't go out there. This is not the familiar voice you're used to hearing. This is Dustin. Nico is taking a much-deserved week off. Let's just get into it. This week is in our free theme month. It was my pick, and I'll just go ahead and announce it and why I picked it. I picked 2012's The Watch. This is a movie that I've been back and forth on, honestly, for years about, is this horror enough for me to pick? I think so, but I don't know. And I decided, you know what? I don't really care. I'm just picking it because this is a movie that I saw shortly after it came out. I didn't see it in theaters, but fun story. There used to be a chain of stores, I believe nationwide, called Hastings Bookstore, Hastings. And Hastings sold books, they sold music, but they also sold DVDs and Blu-rays. And the good thing about it was all their used DVDs and Blu-rays, 95% of the year, they were buy two, get one for $1. This is a movie that I was like, you know what? This cast looks great. The trailers looked kind of funny. Let's just buy it because I got it for $1. And it is one that I would say for a good solid 5 years after I bought it in 2012, 2013, I watched this movie all the time. It's a comfort movie for me because Vince Vaughn has a direct line to my funny bone. Like, I love Vince Vaughn. Jonah Hill's great. Ben Stiller, I like Ben Stiller, nothing against him, but he's not one of my favorites. But the three of them together, along with Richard Ayoade, I don't know how to say his name, but I think they form a perfect team. Like, their humor works well together. They have great chemistry. And Richard, I'm surprised, honestly, that I thought after seeing this movie, he was going to blow up in the world of comedy. Like, I just thought he's got next. This is an up-and-comer. We're going to see him a lot. Surprisingly, we didn't. But this is a movie that I love. It's not perfect, but it's so funny to me that I wanted you guys to see it as well. Brian, go ahead. What'd you think of it?
To put it lightly, Dustin and I don't always agree on movies. But one thing I can say that I'm pretty sure our sense of humor is, when it comes to comedies, are in sync. And this one is just another example of that. I loved this. Like, it was funny, and it also had some heart. And, Vince Vaughn's character's relationship with his daughter kind of touched me and helped draw me in, which I believe is one of the reasons why I read that Vince Vaughn actually stated he took the role. And also, when I started watching this, it seemed familiar. So at some point, I think I'd maybe started the movie, but if so, I definitely hadn't finished. So I'm glad I did. I didn't remember any of it. I absolutely love it. Now, let me just say real fast, listen, I don't want to speak for Mike, but I will put out the disclaimer that this isn't The Shining with all these behind-the-scenes secrets that we've said this. We've said this a million times about horror comedies. I absolutely, by the way, think, Dustin, that it does qualify for this show, especially some of the ones that we've done. Ghostbusters comes to mind.
Yeah.
So some of my feedback, at least here, is, yeah, that's funny as shit. So just also, if you're listening, keep that in mind once again here.
Mike?
Yeah, so something that we've talked about a ton on this show is when we've done horror comedies, typically, one, they're picked by Dustin. Definitely a favorite subgenre of his. Yep. And second of all, this definitely qualifies, man. I mean, we've done Ghostbusters and Hocus Pocus, right? Like, we're fine, okay? I mean, we've done the Jurassic Park movies, which, while not horror comedy, I mean, they're more of an adventure movie. So, like, again, this is fine. I will tell you, it's hard to take notes on a movie that isn't horror for me for some reason. I would hate to be like, let's start a drama like a period drama podcast, I'd be fucked, right? Because I don't know, it'd just be very dialogue heavy. Although this movie was a little bit easier. I will say this movie reminds me a lot of like a modern take on Ghostbusters and that idea. There's a ton of times that I audibly laughed out loud in this movie. So like, I do think it is an enjoyable watch all the way through. The cast is great. Vince Vaughn just has some fucking incredible one-liners, especially later in the movie. And I got to be honest with you, I like Ben Stiller, but I like Ben when he's playing like a bit part where he has to be a character instead of the lead guy that's like has a lot of heart. So like he's fine here, but he's definitely the least funny of the three that I'm familiar with. Hill kills it as Franklin. He's such a fucking moron through the majority of the movie. He actually really starts the comedy for me. Like I prefer Stiller when he's playing,
Tony Perkis.
Tony Perkis, which is, I have a heavyweights reference in my notes because when he's running around the neighborhood, no way that wasn't a heavyweights reference. I don't care what anybody says. And then obviously the guy, I'm drawing a blank from Dodgeball, which is the same character as Tony fucking Perkis. So anyway, great pick, Dustin, as far as my enjoyability. Now, again, it's not scary in any way, shape, or form, but obviously it was a horror comedy. So that really wasn't its design. So all in all, fun watch. Only 90, around that 90, 93-minute watch, which I really appreciate from you, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing? Maybe rant a minute on comedies in general. Am I the only one who hates watching comedies in the theater? Like, it's almost to me like watching comedians with a crowd. Like, people laugh at literally every word that comes out, and it's annoying as fuck. I'm like, motherfucker, you don't think every single word is funny. Am I the only one that gets annoyed with that shit? I don't know. But
no, I went and saw which one? Waltzing with Brando. I watched Waltzing with Brando, a movie about Marlon Brando, 2 days ago, and it's got some like funny moments, but there's nothing laugh out loud funny in the whole movie. But there was old people in the theater with me, and one thing about old people is, man, it takes nothing to make them laugh. Oh my God, these two old ladies would not shut up. So yes, it annoys me too.
Also, I just want to point out, and I know that there's some disagreement online, but this came out in 2012. This feels like a movie the last of its kind. Like it's got that same feel that time period of comedy did from like 05 to 12, 13, and that this style of comedy. I don't know how else to describe it other than like Jonah Hill and that kind, basically all the movies that he was in, that kind of style. This is kind of the dying days of it, and I definitely think it feels like one of those movies that I'm watching. There's gross humor, there's crude humor, and I think that they do a good job with it. And honestly, aliens don't look bad. Can we just talk about the effects? Like, I don't think they look that bad at all.
Look very good.
I agree.
But you are right about it being like the last of a dying breed, so to speak. But when you look at who wrote the movie, Jared Stern's one of the writers, but the other two writers, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, like that's that period of comedy movies. Like they're the guys, so definitely makes sense.
Sure.
But I'm very happy and shocked that at least the three of us that are on this show, we all agree about this movie, because if you look at reviews, and I'm not talking about just the critic reviews, but historically, since this movie's come out, not many people like this movie. And I personally don't get it. Like, I think those people just don't have a sense of humor, because this is a fun and funny movie. But
I was looking through some of the IMDb reviews, and it was like full 5, 1. Full 5, 1. It was like nobody was in the middle. It was always like, this is for teens, this is for kids, blah, blah, blah. No, dude, it's just for that mentality, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like American Pie mentality. It's like, all of those, Knocked Up, all of those. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, and I was 24, I think, when this movie came out, 23, 24. So, like, it definitely does have that young adult humor. But I would like this movie if it came out today at my age I am right now.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
This is just funny. But
I'm 42. I was dying laughing at this movie.
And you saw it for
that's
the
pretty
first
much
time.
all my notes.
Yeah. All right. Anybody have anything else? Any other opening thoughts before we get into it? All right, I'm doing the scene by scene, so as always, Lord bear me strength. We open with Evan, played by Ben Stiller, speculating about what's out there in the universe, but he says it doesn't compare to the greatest city in the universe, Glenview, Ohio. And we get a look at his life and how involved in the community he is. The guy has founded 2 clubs and is deputy secretary for the city council, all while being the senior manager at Costco. And we see Bob, played by Vince Vaughn, buying a 3D TV from him. At the end of the day, we see night security Antonio showing up, having just passed his citizenship test. Evan tells him to treat himself to a bag of Bugles and a 6-pack of Coke, but Antonio takes it a step further and adds in some vodka and some pills from the pharmacy. He's having a blast when the TV glitches and the power goes down. He hears some strange noises and looks around and ends up stepping in some green goo. Something runs after him and splatters him against the wall before he can escape. The next day, Evan's wife is leaving for New York. Her name's Abby, and he heads to work where the police are already on the scene. Will Forte, plays the sergeant in this movie, tells Evan that Antonio is dead and the killer took his skin, and jokingly accuses Evan of being the killer. Later, Evan watches the news before heading to the high school football game, where he grabs a microphone and calls for the formation of a neighborhood watch. Franklin, played by Jonah Hill, accosts the kid, making fun of Evan or mocking him, and is clearly interested in joining the watch. So is Bob. So later at Evan's house, Bob and Franklin are there for the first meeting, and they're joined by one more concerned citizen, Jamarcus. Evan is strictly business, but Bob and Franklin want some brewskis, so after introductions, Bob suggests that they move the meeting to his house, and so they head out. That's the open. What'd you guys think?
Right off the bat, salute to the Dunes logo, RIP, as this was the final 20th Century Fox film with the Dune Entertainment logo attached to it. I don't have any black friends yet, but I am in the market. Bro, I was dying. I was dying laughing. Real quick, too, here, while we're getting this voiceover, I caught Evan and how he's, repositioning that Costco floor grate, because it's been moved, foreshadowing that final scene. Nah, good writing, good writing. You wouldn't expect that kind of writing in a movie like this. But Joe Nunez playing Antonio, I thought is great, too. I mean, who wouldn't do all this shit if you were overnight at Costco? And that the placement of cruising down the street in my 6'4" as he's on that big wheel. Oh, my God, dude. Fantastic. And, hey, guys, that's NWA. That's Eazy-E. So get off my back by all these new people who can't hold a – I don't know these new people. Hang on. But him, I knew.
Paul Wall's not a new rapper. Like, he was popular 20 years ago.
Paul Walker was good in Fast and Furious, but I don't know about anyway, during this, I was like, did they use a real Costco to film this? Because I didn't see it in any of the facts or anything on the IMDb. So I went researching. They actually renovated a former BJ's in what is now Peachtree Corners, Georgia, into a Costco. So there you go. Don't go out there. Professional podcasting service. By the way, Sound of Silence in Spanish. I'm sorry. That was way funnier than it had any business being. I was like, Sonido del Silencio. Anyway, fun fact, Jonah Hill trained for 2 weeks in learning how to use a butterfly knife. And probably the first time I laughed out loud was a Sound of Silence thing. But the second time was the whole scenario explained by Jamarcus and ending with the scenario ends with her sucking my balls. I'm also interested in it happening to me. That was fantastic in there by Jonah Hill. Great open.
Yeah, when the movie first opened, I was already like, God damn it, because it was another space flick, okay? We're doing Alien Earth right now. Like, it feels like a lot. We've done some other alien-type invasion movies. God damn it, I can't escape this genre. Anyway, but I was glad to be wrong about the way this was going to go. Hilarious that they said that this town was the best one ever in Ohio, since Gen Alpha uses Ohio as a fucking insult, so that's awesome. Also, Ben Stiller looks like a Costco manager, and I don't mean that as an insult, but if you saw him and you didn't know that he was Ben Stiller, he looks like someone that would be a manager of a Costco, and I was like, that's perfect casting right there for sure. NWA, great song, I agree there. There's also a badass acoustic version that I like to play on the guitar sometimes. It's super fun. Sounds like a bunch of hillbillies did it. I love this scene with Antonio, and he's setting up his thing, or the chair with the forklift, which shout out to brother Nico, who's not on the show this week, but is forklift certified. And honestly, great blood spatter shot there. When Evan's wife is getting ready to board this plane, I thought they were going to go into the trope that she's definitely just like a habitual cheater. Like, it just felt like that was the relationship off to the start. But they surprised me with how they handled their relationship. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought this cop interrogation scene was pretty funny as he's trying to fakely get Evan to confess to murdering Antonio. That was good stuff there. I will say, him using this high school football game as the speech, as a place to do the speech to rally the town is very fucking funny to me.
Is that the kind of football field you guys have in your rich town? Because that's what it reminded me of. I was like, man, that's probably something Mike Settle has in his town. He paid for probably.
You know,
His
I
backyard.
live, buddy.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Buddy, you guys came to my wedding in Anderson and were scared on your way in, wondering where the fuck does Mike having this wedding? So eat shit, pal. Even though Anderson is a nice downtown, nice area. Just saying. Last couple things here. Kind of a weird spot to do this rallying speech, though, right? I felt like maybe a billboard would have done it. Anyway, it was hilarious, and I enjoyed the speech. Anyway, laughed my ass off with Jonah Hill. He's going over all the different exams that he didn't pass. I thought that was fucking hilarious. And again, great open. It hooked me right away. You could cut the DEI line if you want. Obviously, I think DEI is great and fine.
Two things that went unmentioned that were funny to me in that first set of scenes was Bob's fascination with the Russian nesting dolls. He's like, guys, there's another doll in here. And he goes, it's not going to keep going. And then he goes, you're kidding me. Guys, there's another doll. This is so funny to me. But also Antonio, when he's like, listen, they gave me a gun and they didn't teach me how to use it, so we're both in a lot of danger. Like, that's so funny. All right, moving along. The group arrives back at Bob's house, and he has one heck of a man cave. He says something that I quote a lot when I'm trying to convince someone to do something they don't want to do. Scotch and yes. Scotch and yes. I say that all the time, and no one ever gets it. Hopefully now they will. Evan wants to get to business, but Bob wants to get to know each other more. And right after he tells Evan how great kids are, he has a shouting match with his daughter, Starlight, a.k.a. Chelsea. That's The Boys reference, Nico, if you're listening. I know Brian gets it. Evan is tired of the fun, so he says he's heading out to put up flyers. When he arrives back at his house, he meets his new neighbor, Paul, who's bringing his mail to him. Real creepy fella. The next day, Evan's wife is back, and she seems annoyed that he started a new club and wants to have the sex because she's ovulating. But he has neighborhood watch duty. Bob gives them some new jackets with updated logos, and that annoys Evan. After some back and forth, they all agree to actually do something tonight. They go to a stakeout at Costco, and Bob's got to pee. He relieves himself in an empty can. After the piss, Bob cracks a cold one, and Franklin and Jamarcus join him. And the cops roll up. Will Forte, the sergeant, I go back and forth on what I call him. Right here I put Will Forte, but it's the sergeant, says he doesn't remember Franklin, and then notes it's suspicious that Evan is at the scene of the crime, since killers return to the scenes of the crimes. Before they leave the watch to their stakeout, the sergeant gives Evan a ticket for the open containers and one for putting up 200 flyers without a permit. What do you guys think?
That's so funny because the very first line of my note says Erin Moriarty. Nico, she's Starlight from The Boys. So
Yeah.
glad you called it out too. Before she had plastic surgery, she had no business having. But anyway, this is actually her film debut here. So all of you fans of The Boys, like I am, and I know Dustin is. Mike, have you seen The Boys? He's shaking his head. No. So anyway, Erin Moriarty. Also, Evan, my guy. Listen, I know you tried to tell the neighbor who you felt like was hitting on you that you had a female wife, but yet you turn her down for some booty? I'm getting mixed signals here, Evan. Let's take a line from Bob here. It's like a Chinese symbol for shut the fuck up and dance, Evan. Just dance. Like, I hope he listens to this. Also, as I watch these guys kind of put their hands in a circle and break it down, I can't help but think that we've never done this, guys. The four of us, we've never broke it down like this.
Yeah.
I can't help but think that's what's been holding us back the last 6 years. Just throwing that out there too. I think we need to break it down. That's all. Sue me. But dude, Vince Vaughn pissing in the can. Dude, honestly, I got to go watch the outtakes because no chance they weren't all just laughing at this. I have the mushroom pressed against the cold steel. I'm not missing anything, Evan. I was dying laughing. That's all I had.
Hit me with a stop and go. Stop and go. Go ahead.
First of all, I've tried to get everybody here to my house in South Carolina to break it down, brothers. We can break it down like DX style, buddy. Anyway. What? Oh, I thought you were going to say something about, I don't know. I expected an insult there. That's what happens when Mike speaks on this show. God damn it. Anyway.
I was thinking it, but I didn't say it.
No, I was
that's right.
I was just thinking how remarkable it is that you haven't stuttered tonight, so I wasn't going to insult you.
Thank you. Hey, stick around. Stick around. Also, but there's a song in this movie that was literally made for me. I'm just going to leave it at that as far as stuttering goes. Anyway, first of all, Bob's place seems like a much more fun place and place I'd rather hang out. Shout out to his man cave. I would kill to have that bar in the corner. That is a sick place. Don't like this creepy neighbor. Immediately thought it was an alien, but I was wrong. It was almost worse. I'll get into that later. Bro, that group of guys for Neighborhood Watch could fucking wait. My wife, right there, let's go. I don't care what kind of problems my stick shift has, buddy. It's full blast right there, man. I just want to say, great moment from Bob to get everybody these jackets, but these jackets fucking suck, bro. I wouldn't wear this. I wouldn't want to wear these shits, dog. I wouldn't rock these jackets. That's just me. Hey,
good. Wouldn't buy you one.
Hey, Brian, you could cut this. I'm just saying Vince Vaughn and another Jonah Hill reference, but if he would have just used his line from Django, or used the scene from Django where he talks about the mask not working on everybody's face and how good of an idea they were, that's how I feel like the jacket were. And right, that's all I'm saying. Also, this fucking Vince Vaughn pissing in the can scene is fucking hilarious. It's awesome. I will say nothing worse than a guy that can't hold it when shit's got to get done. That could never be me. I would never do that. But anyway, Bud Heavy out of a can. Bud Heavy draft and Bud Heavy bottle, elite. Bud Heavy out of a can,
elite also.
Oh, no fucking way. No fucking way. Great ending of this set of scenes here. I thought the stuff in the van, car, whatever was hilarious.
All right. Franklin is mad that the sergeant didn't remember him, and Evan gets a call about a noise complaint at the football field. When they arrive, it's quiet, but then the stadium lights turn on, and the watch gets egged by high schoolers. The kids make a run for it, but Evan tackles one of them, and they celebrate their first bust. They take the kid to the police station, but when they turn him over to the cops, he's free to go immediately. As he's skateboarding home, he sees some flashing lights at an electrical box, and then something is moving incredibly fast all around him before he's tackled off his skateboard. The watch is still riding high, and as they're dancing and singing in Evan's car, or van, I guess, Evan hits something in the road. Franklin tries to get Evan to just drive away. I know what you did last summer style, but Evan has to check it out. They find a gooey piece of something in the grill, and Jamarcus agrees with Evan that it's octopus before Evan recognizes the green goo from Antonio's death scene. And after a funny bit about the Nickelodeon Teen Choice Awards, that cracked me up, Bob says it's cum-like, and Jamarcus agrees. Franklin spots a silver ball nearby, and it opens up some when Evan sticks his finger in it. Before they can check it out more, the homeowner, Manfred, played by the late great R. Lee Ermey, comes out and tells him to beat it. When they leave, they examine the ball again, and after some hesitation from Jamarcus, they put their fingers in it, and it shoots a laser beam at a cow, exploding it. They say they shouldn't mess around with it, but then immediately blow several more things up with it. They go back to Bob's to celebrate, and Jamarcus says it's probably from the government, when Bob says it's not from this world. Evan is brainstorming and suspects the homeowner who ran them off. He may be connected. Evan heads home and spots his odd neighbor across the street, and the next day, Bob finds a video of his daughter making out with a boy on Facebook. He confronts her and tells her to take the video down and tells her she's right on the edge. Right on the edge. Go ahead.
You know, I want to say that all of this talk about cum and this ooze feeling like cum and looking like cum and all of that shit reminded me of when we did the Ghostbusters review and you two drunk fucks were calling all the slime jizz. Yeah, I remember that. Don't think I remember that. I don't remember
what?
that.
Drunk? Huh?
Well, at least Mike was. I don't know about
Hold
you.
on now. I would never get on one of these shows drunk.
That's only happened
Ever.
twice. Leprechaun, I know for a fact.
Well-
we both
But
moving on.
have you ever listened to that episode back?
I refuse.
No.
I refuse.
Do not do it.
And-
You just pretend it doesn't exist. Anyway, Brian. Sorry,
Anyway,
buddy.
it's kind of funny. Mike mentioned this at the beginning in his little spill because I was like, oh man, I got that later. But as soon as Evan said, it's our first call, it hit me. I like this movie because it reminds me of Ghostbusters. I mean, it's not like the shitty Pixels ripoff. Like, it's got the language. It toes the line. 4 funny guys. Made fun of it first. Aliens instead of ghosts. I mean, no wonder I like this. This is a recipe for success. I didn't expect it to be this awesome.
You just make a
Anyway.
yogurt.
Neighborhood watch. Suck a fat dick, Chucho. I was dying laughing. Fantastic right there. Best acting of the whole movie may go to Johnny Pemberton as the skater kid in this set of scenes because you have Jonah Hill and Ben Stiller grilling you. I'm sure just ad-libbed, telling you to look here, look here, look here. I don't know what take this was, but him even getting through it once without laughing, bravo, kid. Like, he's got a bright future ahead of him. He was actually in 21 and 22 Jump Street with Hill, too, by the way, as Delroy. Great movies. Truthfully, mixing the comedy with some stuff like him getting attacked by the alien next is that mix I really like. Again, very Ghostbusters-esque. Evan saying the line, there's beer and piss in the car. Well, it's Budweiser, so how can anyone tell the difference anyway? But I kid. I'm just messing with Dustin. I'm just messing with Dustin.
Okay. Good.
But last thing, Arlie Ermy, you brought him up, the legend. Sad fact, this was his final theatrical role. Why don't you just shut your cocksucker there, dickweed? Classic Erm. Love it. Great effects on the cow explosion there. I've seen a cow explode, and that was just perfect. It looks just like it. Now, I mean, I haven't really, but if I had, this was it. This is what it would look like.
I don't want to typecast anyone, but Jonah Hill plays stupid idiot really fucking well, man. This guy's an idiot, but he's hilarious. Franklin is definitely in a movie that's all comedy. He's almost comedic relief.
I didn't even think that he was an idiot. Like, I never thought of Franklin as an idiot. I just thought that he was just kind of
Changes throughout the movie. To me, he's dumb in the beginning. About the time he's almost like from boy to a man, if that makes sense, because he's the youngest of the group. So,
Well, I'll say, going to a high schooler house party and hitting on chicks, that's pretty dumb.
yeah, that's pretty stupid.
I mean, very unintelligent. Very correct. Very correct. How about mentally unstable? We'll go with that.
Valid.
Dude, he tells you he's an idiot. He dropped out of high school. He didn't pass any of the police exams, any of them. I mean, come on, man. He's dumb, but he doesn't end the movie dumb, and I like the character development there. Again, Franklin's an idiot. No wonder he didn't finish high school. I love how they nabbed this kid for egging, and they felt badass. They felt badass about it. Like, that fucking cracked me up, man. The music being played, Dre and Snoop Dogg there is fucking hilarious. This like interrogation, bad cop back and forth that you mentioned, Brian. Excuse me, I got a burp. Between Stiller and Vaughn is hilarious. By the way, when they leave the police station, that scene's hilarious. How they just let the guy go, But I will tell you, in the car they sing "Ain't Seen Nothing Yet" by Bachman Turner Overdrive. That is my song directly because half of the song is just the guy going, baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. See, there you go. So there you go. See, it was always going to come back around.
Damn.
I do love.
I'm just mad I didn't think of that.
Yeah, well, too late, pal. I can make fun of myself all by myself. I don't need nobody else. Why are you driving around drunk trying to be kind of cops? Like, that's hilarious, man. Honestly, they stop and they run over this thing that they think is an octopus. That looks like what comes out of me after Taco Tuesday. Anyway,
Okay.
the
Christ.
the line that Vince Vaughn delivers, insisting that it has a very cum-like texture, very cum like this, very cum like that, fucking cracked me up, man. It's hilarious. This bowling ball thing looks like a rip-off Continuum Transfunctioner in a good way. I thought the fact that it was shaped in this way looked really fucking hilarious. Sultan. Shout out to that movie. Is that movie horror? Can we do that? I mean, I feel like that's an invasion film. No, dude, where's my car?
I'm in.
Let's do it.
I'm in.
I'm into. I love that movie.
Let's fucking do it. No, and then. Sorry. Last few things here. I just want to shout out Vince Vaughn because he's hilarious for like a good solid 5 minutes here. Like, I didn't write any of the lines down. I just highly recommend you go watch. He's really fucking funny here. Creepy Norman Bates ass neighbor that Evan has. Although, is he really that creepy? Man, just has a little bit of a fetish is all. You know, it's anyway. Last thing, I agree with whoever said it in the beginning, which was the relationship between Vince Vaughn or Bob and his daughter gives the movie a little bit of heart. Same with Evan and his wife. I mean, definitely kind of rounds out that, which goes back to my earlier point. I feel like a lot of those comedies of the time were hilarious, but also had some heart to the story. Like even Step Brothers at the very end, like everybody comes together and it has a happy ending and stuff. So like, I feel like there's even those like Superbad kind of does, although probably the least of the few, but like Pineapple Express has a weird happy ending, et cetera, et cetera. So I do like that they're adding some character development. They're not just funny guys.
But I will say, Mike, you can't take issue with these guys riding around as the neighborhood was trying to be cops. Did you not hear the sergeant in his press conference? He goes, there's like 8 cops in this town. I don't want to point fingers, but listen, they need more people like this. And also, just shout out to the sergeant and Chucho, because this gives me another chance to plug one of my favorite comedic sitcoms of all time, The Last Man on Earth. They were both in it. Got canceled way too soon. Anyway, moving on. At Evan's house, he's looking at his evidence string board when he gets a text from Bob asking to meet him and that he's desperate. Evan meets up with him, and Bob just needs a friend. They talk about family life, and Evan tells him that he's shooting blanks and that he hasn't told his wife. Evan gets a call, and it's the old man Manfred saying that there's someone on his roof. Jamarcus and Franklin are already there when Evan and Bob arrive, but the old man isn't. They split up, and Evan and Jamarcus find the man's cell phone around back of the house. They also find something else in the bushes. Jamarcus says they should run, but Evan wants to approach it. Evan hums at the alien and tries to communicate politely. He gives the alien a piece of gum, and the alien tosses Manfred's body at them before slapping Evan across the yard. The alien stares at Jamarcus, and Evan smashes a garden gnome over its head, knocking it to the ground. Back at Bob's, Evan and Jamarcus show the alien to Bob and Franklin, and they're blown away. They take pictures with the presumed dead alien, and afterwards Bob slow dances with it and apparently gives it the kiss of life. It's not dead. It wrecks Bob's basement, and the watch tries to fight it off. The alien says, "We are already among you," and grabs the silver ball and runs away. Evan deduces that the reason it takes the skin is because they're already among them. Jamarcus says if the alien wanted them dead, they'd be dead, and they should keep this to themselves. The guys are on high alert the next day, and they reconvene at Costco. They look around at the customers and speculate which ones are aliens, and Bob says he's going to rip his daughter's boyfriend's dick off. Evan's neighbor shows up and creeps him out before inviting him to a get-together, and Evan is sold. He's got to be an alien. He tells the group that this is why they formed the Neighborhood Watch.
Man, and later on when they meet in the basement, that shit is fixed. Most of it's fixed, so I don't know. It's crazy. But this opening here with Bob and Evan talking about Bob's relationship with his daughter and Evan's struggles with being sterile. This is what I was talking about in my open. This is what I think Mike's kind of referring to. Like, the movie's played with laughs, but truthfully, I mean, there is a lot of heart here, too. I mean, that's real life shit. You know, I don't know what the percentages are, but a lot of people deal with this and can relate to, I think, this. And that kind of stuff in this movie is what puts it over the top for me. Like, it's more than just that mindless comedy with some blood and guts mixed in, like just my 2 cents, but that's how I feel about it. Fun little Easter egg here, too. When Manfred calls Evan to break up their bench session to say someone's on the roof, the music score actually mimics the little 3-note motif from Signs. Here our review of Signs, don'tgooutthere.com. From where they hear that alien on their barn the first night. So nice little touch there. And this first little confrontation here with the alien in Manfred's backyard, very library ghost in Ghostbusters. I mean, Peter Winston, or should I say Jamarcus, being very, we should run for our lives. and Evan, should I say Ray or Egon, saying they should go up to it. And just the absurdity of the pictures with the dead alien had me cracking up. Like, what are you doing, Jamarcus? It's not a bumblebee. That made me crack out. I was dying laughing when he opened the door. Not a bumblebee. Absolutely great line. I think Jonah Hill's lines, made me laugh the most. Vince Vaughn had a few, but I think it's just the way he delivers his lines, and that subtle humor just cracks me up. Something I can't get past is when they're talking about the aliens wearing the skins of people to blend in. They're like 8 feet tall and huge. It had me picturing Edgar from Men in Black, like sugar, water. Gotta be looking like that with the skin all hanging off. It's crazy. Anyway, underrated exchange, and I say underrated, but I don't know. It was funny though. Magnum, no way your dick is that big. I'm gonna rip his dick off. And he goes, "You're gonna need 2 hands, Bobby." So again, that cracked me up.
When he said, "There's no way your dick's that big," and Franklin just goes, "Some people's are that big, otherwise they wouldn't sell them." Like, that was so funny.
And Evan goes, "You're right. We saw a lot." I don't know. All right, go ahead, Mike. How about that?
Whoa, sorry. The string board that Ben Stiller has up is hilarious. It will always remind me of It's Sunny in Philadelphia with the conspiracy thing. That's about the only thing I ever think of. Poor Evan, though, man. This man has a narrow urethra, like my man Hank Hill. Although Hank Hill wasn't shooting blanks, buddy. Bobby is a world-renowned chef these days, so good for him. Hank got one squeezed out of there at the last second. Again, just more shout-outs to Vince Vaughn cracking me the fuck up here. As he's trying to talk about ball transplants and all this other shit where he's not taking what Evan says very seriously, I thought was really good fucking dialogue. These eyes of the alien look like a cat or nematode or frog or something. The eyes look super weird. And for a minute, I thought this was going to be a really poorly done alien. I was wrong. I thought the alien looked really, really good here. And by the way, they gave it away really early, quickly, with Marcus. Jesus Christ, I don't want to look at that while I'm recording. They gave it away early with Marcus a little bit.
Jamarcus.
They gave it away a little bit early here because when the alien's right up on him, he doesn't budge. He just kind of stands there, and I'm like, interesting. My little tinfoil hat went up on that. I love how they bop this alien in the back of the head and they take it back to Bob's and they're taking hangover style pictures with it. It's fucking hilarious, man. It's like a night out with Mike Tyson in Vegas. That's the kind of shit they're doing. I thought that was really, really funny. It cracked me up. Especially the fact that Centerfold's playing in the back. Shout out to that fucking great banger from Jay Giles band. Popped me when the alien came back to life too. Thought that was fucking hilarious. The goo being in Jonah Hill's mouth, and he kept saying, "I can taste the goo." He's awesome in that scene. Again, we're already among you. I fucking knew it. Jamarcus. Damn it, I knew that somebody in this group was an alien. I knew it was him. I will say, this is a scene I was referencing earlier, Dustin, where this lady, shout out to Nico's kinfolk, sprays Ben Stiller for just jogging or running or whatever. He even does the little wrist thing that Tony Perkis does. I know what you're doing, Ben. You can't fool me. You were dialing back in to come here, you devil log. I know you wanted to, buddy. I know you wanted to. Shout out to Heavyweights. Great film. Not horror. I wish we could do it on the show, but it wouldn't. It's even too far for me on the other side. Also, hilarious. Honestly, this may be the funniest set of scenes. Full stop. Because when they're trying to identify who could be an alien in Costco, and it's the woman with the fruit, and Vince Vaughn's like, "What about this asshole over here?" And it's a fucking kid eating ice cream. God, I lost it. It's so fucking funny, man. God, I loved it. Great way to end this. Great way to end that set of scenes.
So 2 things. They did a good job with Jamarcus throughout. Like, if you're paying attention they put it right in front of us, because if you think about when they're brainstorming, he never spoke first. Someone would say, "Oh, I think this is octopus." And he's like, "Yeah, I agree. It's octopus." Bob's like, "Oh, it's very cum-like." "Yep, this is cum." Like he's agreeing. And he also knew we should run. He also said, if that thing wanted us dead, we'd be dead. Like, they did a good job of not making it obvious, but letting us know all along. And then also, since we mentioned Heavyweights, have I ever told you guys my favorite behind the scenes thing with Heavyweights? So the scene when he goes, "See more butts? Who see more butts?" You know what the original line in that was? The original line was Peter Fitz. And he goes, "Peter Fitz, who's Peter Fitz?" And he goes, "Anyone's Peter Fitz if you push hard enough." That was the original line. So
I bet Disney was like, "Not happening, brother."
So if you watch the movie, and I noticed this when I was a kid, his mouth doesn't line up with the audio, and I always thought that was weird. I found out within this year, 2025, that's the original line, and I was mind blown. That's hilarious. Yeah. All right.
That is hilarious.
Back to the watch. The group heads back to Evan's, where he goes in to grab a jacket, and his wife is scantily clad on the dining room table, and all the other guys come in and get a show. She's upset how scarcely they do it, and that Franklin saw her, and she tells Evan to just go. I'll be honest, alien duty would have to wait. Did you see her? At least 3 or 4 minutes. That's all I need. Anyway, they go to the neighbor's house, and Bob gets a call that Chelsea is going to a party at her friend Mandy's house, who he calls a whore, so he's got to go. Evan says he can't go, so Franklin goes with Bob, and Jamarcus stays with Evan. Evan and Jamarcus hear screams from inside the house, and Paul pops up behind them to give them a good scare. He leads them inside, and we see the party at Mandy's house. Bob and Franklin see Chelsea heading inside with her boyfriend, and then we cut back and see Jamarcus and Evans at Paul's. They head down to the basement where the suspected alien hive is, but it's a Diddy party, just a full-fledged Diddy party. Full-blown orgy that included a circle jerk that featured Andy Samberg and director of this movie, Akiva Schaffer. That was cool. And not what they were doing, but just cool little Easter eggs. They were there. Shout out to Lonely Island. Evan's seen enough, but Jamarcus wants to stay. Back at the party, Bob enters the house, and Franklin starts flirting with some twins, mind you, high school girls, while Bob looks for Chelsea. She's upstairs with Jason, and she wants to go back to the party, but he wants to keep going, keep doing what they're doing. Bob shows up just in time, but when he confronts Jason, yeah, he gets whooped. I'm telling you right now, if a high schooler tried to rape my daughter and then beats me up in front of a bunch of high school kids, I'm shooting him. No hesitate, like I'm going to shoot him. Anyway, they leave, and Evan is waiting for Bob at his house, but he's not there to apologize. He's upset that Bob left him. Things get personal, and Evan kicks Bob out of the watch. They fight over Franklin like divorced parents, but Franklin's staying with Bob. He lives here. Evan runs back to his house and bursts in the door to tell his wife that he's sterile in an awkward way right in front of her friend. They have a nice moment, and as he goes to tell her his last secret, Jamarcus shows up and says they have to get the watch together now. Jamarcus, Evan, and Abby go to Bob's, and Jamarcus reveals that he's an alien. He tells them the alien plan and that they only have a few hours before the transmitter is functional and will bring on the full alien force to Earth. The transmitter is at Costco. He says if they leave now and head to the desert, they can live out the rest of their lives. He's learned humanity's love and compassion and wants to help them. They send him away, and Bob is ready to fight for Glenview. Bob grabs his gun, and Evan says they should make a pit stop at his house, and the next set of scenes is the ending.
Yeah, you kind of already talked about it, but again, Evan, the watch, the aliens, the world ending. All of that can wait, brother. You gotta fuck your wife on the table there. You gotta do it. Dead sperm and all. Gotta bang her on the table. And by the way, probably a weird time to bring this up after that, but hey, professional podcasting service. Rosemary DeWitt, played by Elizabeth in Smile 2.
Yep.
Have we reviewed that, by the way? I can't remember if we reviewed that.
I honestly don't know.
Sorry.
I know we did an instant, but I can't remember if we did a... Yeah.
If so, don't go out there.com. If not, blame Nico because he's not here. I don't know.
Coming soon.
But also, there you go. Also, Daphne and the boys. Yeah, anyways.
Yeah.
Yep, gotta fuck her on the table. Dude, the funniest part of this damn movie to me is that you think Bob is totally overreacting about his daughter going to a fuck fest. Meanwhile, it's a gigantic orgy inside Paul's house. Man. By the way, you mentioned director Akiva Schaffer being part of Lonely Island, so I'll say it, but I won't say it. So there you go. Also, here's some pervy digging that I did. You don't expect that from me. One of the naked girls in the orgy, if she looks familiar, Marla Malcolm from 2000's Road Trip. Oh. I know y'all love that movie like I do.
Shout out Tom Green.
Again, professional podcasting service. Only the best for our listeners here. But to jump back to some real talk again, like a lot of heart with the way that Bob and his daughter thing kind of played out at the party on the real. Great scene. I can see why Vince Vaughn wanted this role because of that. And the heavy sterile conversation didn't quite hit as well, I guess, because Jamarcus broke it up. But still, great scenes, great twist with Jamarcus. I loved it. I did not see that coming. But also, didn't the door get broken by the alien like I mentioned earlier? I don't know. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong because they walked right out of it. But Bob's basement door, I think it's fixed here. Worth checking out on the next watch. Maybe let's figure that out together as a family. That's all that.
Yeah, I like that something we were all in it together on was we got to fuck the wife. Like we're not letting those dudes can wait. Those aliens can wait. If we die, at least I got it in before we died and an invasion happened. No, man. Come on. Looking like that? Just giving it to you on a tray? No, dog. That shit can wait. What do you need? 3 minutes? I got 3 minutes, all right? And in the words of Eric Bischoff, did somebody say 3 minutes? Okay, shout out. I thought the 3 minute warning was great.
Rosie and
I
Jamal.
thought Brian watched all the pay-per-views. I thought he would. That would click for him as well. But they all run together, huh, buddy? All run together. I wish my dogs would shut the fuck up. I know that. Anyway, in fairness, I know we kind of woman hate on this show, or some of us do. But, you know,
Not me.
you can't really get mad at her for being like that on the table. You did tell her that it was going to be sexy time later. And she called him out on it. So, yeah, man, you can't really get mad at her. It was definitely his fault that all his new friends saw her half-ass naked. So that's, again, you can't get mad at her for that, for being scantily clad when the man walks in the door. She was excited, and then here comes Bob and the guys. Nah, man, I'd be pissed too. Also, these four make the worst plans together, just like us. They are just like us, guys. Yeah. Anyway, this party, not the high school party, but anyway, these parties look kind of fun, not going to lie. If I were that age, this is a pretty good high school party, man. Shout out to the days when that was, man, house parties were it, dude. Love a good house party back in the day. Not anymore. Shout out to you young listeners that can still do it because can't do it anymore. I don't have time. Hey, man, I'm glad you can. I'm happy for you. Drink one for me, will you? The other party doesn't look as fun, which I'll get to in a second. I will say, in a different life, I may have stayed at this man's house party, the other house party, the basement house party. I may have stayed there.
The Diddy party.
Yeah. Back in the day, but the best line, maybe of the whole movie, is Ben Stiller freaking out a little bit and goes, "It stinks in here. I want to leave." It's crazy the fuck up, dude. I was like, I know what it smelled like in there, and he's right. Ain't no fucking way. Anyway, I guess I'll move on. You're right though, Dustin. I'm shooting this guy. You're not taking my daughter and beating me up at a party in front of a bunch of high schoolers. We're not going to do it. I don't really like to resort to that kind of violence, but desperate times call for desperate measures. We got to get this guy up out of here, brother. Bob laying down a truth bomb on Evan, though, man. Evan has kind of been a shitty leader. He's keeping secrets from his wife. He tries to demean the rest of the group and feel smarter and superior sometimes. So I appreciate Bob kind of laying the verbal smackdown on his ass. Great scene, honestly, with Evan and Hot Wife here. I think that their connection is strong. Now, she probably handled it better than most women would have, right? Like busting the door, drinking wine with a friend. I'm infertile. What? Wait, whoa, slow the fuck down. So she probably handled it better than most women would have for sure. Knew Jamarcus was an alien. Shout out to Jamarcus, former quarterback of the Oakland Raiders. Sorry. I will say another great line here. All the ball sucking was a real eye opener. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, buddy. That's what I'm talking about. Honestly, just the scope of these four individuals taking on a alien invasion cracks me the fuck up. I am excited for the end here.
Something that was funny to me when Bob and Evan are having their back and forth outside the house there is when they're arguing about the logo. He goes, "I never liked your logo anyway." For some reason, it just cracks me up that Bob says Chinese. It's Chinese. I understand the Chinese. Like, that was so funny. But, all right, here's the ending. The Watch arrives at Franklin's, and he kicks in the door and flips off his mom before revealing his arsenal of weapons under his mattress. They all grab guns, and he yells at his mom, but quickly apologizes when the Watch leaves. They head to Costco, and Franklin tells the cops Evan is going to kill them at Costco. That way, he ensures that the cops will show up. The Watch sneaks into Costco and grabs some walkie-talkies and scope the scene. Right before they shoot an alien, the cops show up and scare it off. Chucho gets his heart ripped out, and the Watch empties a clip on the alien. They regroup, and as the sergeant looks at the alien corpse, it comes back alive, and they shoot it several more times. They check on the sergeant and then head for the drain. Down below, they find the transmitter, along with Jason, Chelsea's boyfriend, who is an alien. Bob says he'll deal with Jason, so Evan and Franklin go deal with the transmitter. Several aliens drop in around Evan and Franklin, and they run out of ammo. Just when it looks like that's it for the Watch, Jamarcus pops in and kills them by shooting them in the crotches, which is their weak spot. Same. They tell Bob about this, and he rips Jason's pecker off, killing him. Jamarcus doesn't know how to stop the transmitter, but they suspect they have to grab the orb. Evan climbs up and grabs it, and the signal stops. A ton of aliens run in, and Evan and Jamarcus have an awesome shootout scene with the aliens as the group escapes. They get out of Costco just in time, and outside they plug the holes in the orb, blowing up Costco and killing the aliens inside. The Watch make a dramatic appearance through the smoke and rubble, and good has prevailed. The police and fire department show up, and we see how life went on, complete with Franklin becoming a cop, Evan and Abby having a family, and Jamarcus continuing to visit the Diddy parties. And the Watch lived on. That's the end. What'd you guys think?
You know, ripping Jason's dick off to kill him would have made a better movie than Jason X. Just throwing that out there. But also, first off, listen, you brought it up. Franklin flipping off his mom with the soundtrack playing, then instantly apologizing. That cracked me up. But also, can we talk about Evan's wife? She instant buy-in here to all of this craziness. Abby, ride or die. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. If anyone still listens to this show, I don't know. Get you one of these. Get you one of these.
I'm trying,
By the
man.
way, Patricia French playing Franklin's mom here. Lorna from Ozark. Great show there, but fuck Wendy Bird. Sorry, that was uncalled for. I was emotional. Sorry. But for real. Anyway, fantastic ending. Fantastic movie. I loved it. Like I mentioned in the first set of scenes, I love the writing callback to the grate in the floor. Love the stop and even the soundtrack for the guys to not be able to open the walkie-talkies. I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, you guys mentioned the effects on the alien. Also great effects on Chucho's death. What's happening? Why is their dicks exploding? Dude, come on. This is 10 out of 10 ending.
I just knew when Franklin's like, let's go to my house or whatever he says, you just knew what the setup was going to be. You just knew what this was going to be. And, you know,
I didn't know that. I did not. I will say.
Also, I love the way he's like fake mean to his mom. He like fucks her off and stuff. And then when he leaves, he's nice to her. I really like that. I thought that was funny. Again, Hill's character, Franklin, at the end of this movie goes and totally redeems himself with me. He kind of ends up being a smart, witty badass, but he had to be an idiot first. That's the rest of us, buddy. We're all like that. I was a monkey throwing poop till about 4 years ago, so what do I know? But anyway, I love they're on this call, and Ben Stiller's like, he's calling the police, and he's like, there's an alien invasion down here at Costco. You got to come on. Like, what a fucking... Come on, man. You should have said, I'm murdering people down here. You might want to get down here. That would have been the best way to get a cop to come down there. And Jonah Hill knows that that's the deal. I will say his wife with the little pink walkie-talkie was fucking hilarious. I thought that was fun. And you're right, though, Brian. Ride or die Jackie Kennedy style here, man. Good for her. She is all the way in, pal. I'm happy for Evan here. Franklin kind of taking charge. Of course, this cop is a giant fucking pussy in this moment, loser. Anyway, these guys are smarter than most of the movies we cover because they just repeatedly shoot this motherfucker in the head over and over again. No other horror movie that we do ever does that. They just and run away when they kick him once in the chest. What the fuck? Bam, 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 bam. They have all the guns right there. These people, and the other movies we do are stupid. I had a feeling that his daughter's toy person would be the alien that he had to defeat at the end. I thought that was a fun little nod there. Their weakness being their dick is hilarious. That was so fucking funny. He's been jacking dicks left and right. Great fucking line. Jesus Christ. Great closing scene. As silly as this movie's been, I actually thought the closing final battle was pretty fun. You know, like as far as like it felt like another good alien invasion one. The Costco blowing up was hilarious. And I know my man Dustin will agree with me here. That badge of Evans, the fact that would make it out is a little suspicious, kind of like the 9/11 passports. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. A little suspicious. A little suspicious how the passports ended up outside the Twin Tower destruction. Just curious about that. Anyway, sorry, I sound like Alex Jones. They're turning the freaking frogs gay. Anyway, great movie.
Jet fuel can't melt steel beams. Anyway, go ahead.
That's right, buddy. Controlled demolition. All right, that's all I got.
Yeah, something else that was funny in the ending here is outside the Costco when he's like, Jamarcus, you came back. And Jamarcus goes, we went to an orgy together. And Abby just looks at Evan and he goes, I'll explain later. Like, that's so funny. Like, imagine your wife hearing that after everything that you've been through in the past hour and a friend drops that on her. That's so funny.
And that's the first thing I thought about when she said it too. And I'm so glad that they did that in the movie because I was like, in real life, he would have some splaining to do. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny that they called it out. I love that about this movie. It's realistic, even in the absurdity.
Absolutely. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into social media questions. I've got X pulled up. If one of you guys want to hit the others, Brian, I think you said you had them. We had one on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. It comes from Mookie Boomer _T1. He said, underrated, quote unquote, horror comedy. Love this movie. 4 out of 5. Gotta agree when you're right, buddy.
On the Instagram, Chad AC10. Look at both of us, but understand no one. Love it. Whiskey and Tacos. By the way, I don't think they've wrote in a while, but said Jonah Hill and Vince Vaughn's dialogue just play off of each other so well in this movie. You've got to agree. Such an underrated movie, doesn't get the love it deserves. I completely agree. Jamarcus and optional 13th Ghost. Jamarcus saying, "Touch my goo, Bob." Will always live rent free in my head. Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. And we have one on the Book of Faces. Jennifer Davis from the Too Close to Home podcast. It says Richard Ayoade. Is that how you say his name? Ayoade?
I think so.
Is one of my favorite comedians, so excellent pick. I cannot wait to listen. P.S. Lord Beer Me Strength is now a standard expression in my vernacular. Thanks to Dustin. Listen, Jennifer, do not take anything that we say and say in real life. I would not recommend.
Oh, God.
I don't know. I say nothing but the truth. But anyway.
Oh, Jesus.
Mike, I'm a little rusty. I haven't hosted one of these, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw it to you now if you have the budget pulled up.
If anybody knows when to do it, it's Mike.
That's right. Fuck you, for one thing. And second of all, fuck you both. Second thing. Third thing, this movie was made for a cool budget of $68 million, Brian's yearly salary, and grossed a measly, unfortunately, $35.4 million in the United States and Canada and $68.3 million worldwide. So it made its budget back worldwide, but not what you want to see.
So I have something about that. This movie, we'll do fun facts next, and I'll go ahead and say one of mine. The title of this movie was originally Neighborhood Watch. It was originally Neighborhood Watch, but it came out very soon after Trayvon Martin's tragic death. So they changed the movie to just The Watch. That hindered the marketing campaign. So I think this movie was behind the 8 ball from the jump because of things it couldn't control. But anyway, that's a good segue. Unfortunate segue, but a good segue nonetheless to fun facts. I've got a few. Brian, do you? Okay, I'll just go ahead and knock mine out. So by taking on a role in this film, Jonah Hill had to drop out of Django Unchained, a part that he regarded as the perfect stepping stone for him to legitimize his credentials as a dramatic actor. Various delays in production on Django meant that Hill was able to appear in this movie, or appear in both movies. This was also the last theatrical role of R. Lee Ermey. Shout out, like when you think of Drill Sergeant in the movie, you think of him. Like So he's an absolute legend. This one was interesting. Chris Tucker was considered for the role of Jamarcus. I love Chris Tucker. That might have been too much, though. Like, I think
I
Richard
agree.
Ayoade was he was perfect in this role.
Yes.
Yeah.
He plays it so
Hey, look.
well. Like he plays it so like alien-esque, and there's no way I think Chris Tucker could have done that. Sorry,
Hey.
I love him.
Sorry.
Well, that leads perfectly into my next one. Richard Ayoade. He regrets starring in this movie.
Why?
And he seemed very bitter and sarcastic about it in interviews. His wife even joked that it looked like he won a contest in a movie alongside celebrities because of how unknown he was in comparison to his castmates. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, that's a way to not handle that when you could say, "Hey, you learned from these great comedians.
And-
you saw it as a stepping stone."
And honestly, what I said earlier in my open about how I expected his comedic career or his comedic acting career to take off, I think that probably has a lot to do with it. Like, if he's not
Yep,
appreciative
you're right.
of starring with these legends, anyway. Bradley Cooper was briefly attached to a role. That's interesting. Like, I could see him being Evan, but definitely not Franklin or Bob. Maybe even Paul.
I was thinking the guy across
Yeah.
Paul, isn't he the guy across the street? Yeah, that was who I was thinking of.
He would make a good Paul. But I think that Billy, how do you say it? Crudup? He's been in so many movies, and I don't know how to say his
Yeah.
name, but he was perfect for that role. I think casting top to bottom was fantastic. Last one I have is that Rosemary DeWitt, who you've mentioned, Brian. She played Abby in Smile 2. You know who else was in Smile 2? Kyle Garner. You know what else he was in? Scream 5. Scream 5 Cream. Scream.
5 Cream.
With David Arquette, the GOAT.
There you go.
All right. So let's go ahead and jump into our favorite kill, least favorite kill, and the rating. I'll go ahead and knock mine out. Favorite kill to me was Chucho. It was pretty predictable. Like it was just too calm. We knew there's an alien there. But it was still shocking at the same time. And I thought the effects looked great. Just ripping his heart out. Like, that was fantastic. Least favorite kill was the alien that killed Chucho because they wasted way too much ammo and it almost came back to get them killed. Like, I see what you're saying about how, thank you, you made sure it was dead, but it was a little excessive and they ran out. But anyway, as for my final thoughts on the rating, like I said, this movie used to be one I watched all the time. And seeing the reviews and ratings online, I guess it's considered a guilty pleasure. But after hearing you guys and our listeners' comments, maybe not. Maybe this is actually a good movie that people are just too uptight about. Regardless, I don't care. Vince Vaughn, one of my favorite comedic actors, and this movie is hilarious to me from start to finish. You won't convince me to badmouth it ever. I gave it an 8 because it does have its flaws. It's not a great movie, but it's really good to me.
Mike, you want to read Nico's, or did he give you just the score?
All he gave me was this right here. Favorite kill is Chucho alien arm through the back was great. Least favorite, alien shot to the head by Bob. Laughed quite a few times. I don't know why. It's either too country or not country enough. I can't figure out which accent I'm trying to do there. So this is what Brother Nico said. I laughed quite a few times. Vince Vaughn carried comedically. Fun concept, but took a bit to get going. Disagree, Brother Nico. I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. Not scary in the slightest, but it was a lot of fun.
Nico hates fun.
Whatever. I mean, he rated it the same he rated Ghostbusters, so that's
Yeah,
what do you say? Yeah, exactly. All right, best kill. Yeah, Chucho, yeah. But come on, the cow, fucking cow, without question, is the best kill in this movie. That thing was awesome. It blew up. Man, that thing was awesome. I didn't have a least favorite kill, but again, I loved it. I'm telling you, the people on the interwebs are way wrong on this one. Mike, I think, called it a modern day Ghostbusters in his opening, and I honestly didn't catch on to that until about scene 3. That's 100%, and I'm going to give it a higher rating than Dustin, who picked it. I'm giving it an 8.75. I loved it.
Let's go.
Yep. I mean, I've kind of said what I need to say here. I honestly didn't pick a favorite or least favorite kill. I forgot to. There was some good looking kills though towards the end, so take your pick there, I suppose. But yeah, again, fucking hilarious at times. Vince Vaughn and Jonah Hill, to me, as far as comedically, carry this movie, and I think Ben Stiller actually plays a good straight man to their hijinks here. And so I think the 4, it is a modern day Ghostbusters, a much funnier Ghostbusters. I think that's on purpose. This kind of has that like bro comedy of the time, a little different than the comedy of the 80s, at least as far as mainstream goes, right? So I mean, they weren't doing Porky's chasing ghosts, right? I mean, they were doing, it was supposed to be kind of a family-ish film, right? Okay, anyway, modern day Ghostbusters, fun throughout. Never got bored. I think the idea is fun, and I kind of wish this is going to be one of the few times I'm going to make Dustin tap the sign. I kind of wish there was a sequel, not going to lie. Wouldn't hate The Watch 2, just because I want to see what they'd all be up to now, right now. I feel like there's definitely a way to do that. So I gave this movie a 7.5. I thought it was really fun.
River of Slime Underneath the Neighborhood. I feel like that would be a great sequel to it.
Yeah, and
Are you just copying Ghostbusters beat by beat?
Oh.
the brief
stole their whole flow, word for word, bar for bar.
The brief signal that the orb transmitted, the aliens were finally able to track it, and they returned to see what happened. So now the watch has to reform. Sergeant's on board. Yeah, let's do it. You know what? That's a sequel I will sign off on. But
let's go.
That gives us a composite score of a 7.685. And I'll take it because that's way higher than everyone else. IMDb, 5.7 out of 10. Letterboxd, 2.5 out of 5. Rotten Tomatoes, only 16% of critics were correct in saying that it was a good movie. So we'll take a 7.685 here. All right. Shout out to our blood donors. I don't have the list, but you know who you are, and we appreciate you. And, whose pick is up next? I think next month, October, is a free theme month. And Brian, you're first on the docket. What's your pick, and why'd you pick it?
What did I pick? Oh, I picked Beetlejuice. I don't know. I've been doing nothing but aliens and world-ending movies, and I feel like our world is really ending in real life. And so I kind of wanted to go a little bit lighter, and I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I know I picked it as one of my top movies of 2024 whenever we did that ranking. But so spoiler alert on that. But I'm going with Beetlejuice. I feel like lightening up a little bit with Halloween. So that's what I went with.
I'm just very thankful that you called it its proper title and not Beetlejuice 2. That movie doesn't exist. I couldn't find it on my TV.
Keep looking.
All right. Anybody have any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
I'm so glad you picked something that wasn't Into the World.
Sorry to our blood donors for not calling your name. That's my fault, but I do appreciate you. We couldn't do this show without you. And we will see you next week for Beetlejuice. Fast X.
Jason X, cocksuckers.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself.
Just want to remind everybody